Good evening and welcome to the comparison of online learning in higher education and the inclusion of technology. When you look at online learning, there's a lot of benefits. A lot of different universities, colleges, they're adding more online courses to be available for students. They're looking at involving textbook companies to create and sell their products. A lot of books come with online programs packaged into the purchase program. This allows for standardization for general courses like Englishes. A lot of them create math workshops. I know Pearson is one of the most famous for having some math workshops that can be incorporated within Blackboard. A lot of textbook companies are creating PowerPoints and online materials, test banks that can package quizzes and tests from the test bank to upload into Blackboard as well. When we look at some of the grants that have come through, a lot of them have been specifically directed to institutions developing their own online programs. And recently at our college, maybe about a decade or so ago, we were funded for development of the e-learning and e-health, where we actually created online phlebotomy courses, occupational therapy, nursing, and a lot of degrees at the community college level. So this really allows for students to be coming back to school that normally wouldn't be able to, especially in our area where we don't have a lot of funding that comes into the area. So we also start seeing a lot of our part-time students. Our parents are working full-time students. So this really helps give them the technology they need at a distance. So obviously the benefit, one of the things when we do actually finally develop the courses, there's a lot less labor involved. So the instructors, once they've set it up, it's going online, it's grading, it's doing things like that. It's not setting it up and a labor paper intensive grading system. We also can offer efficient and concise and standardized content to all the students that take the sections of the class. There's no, well, which instructor am I going to get? Am I going to get a better class, or is this person going to get a better class? It increases how many courses we can offer, and it allows for flexible hours, and it's also looking at increasing enrollment with when we're seeing a decline in high school graduates. So this is an example of one of our enrollment summaries that we look at. And if you look right here, e-learning. So we're right now comparing our change from last year to this year. And we've seen some of the projected decline in enrollment, where you can see right here we're overall a little under 10% change with our total head count. But one of the least changed is the online content. And this is where we're starting to see a holding steady, and it's supplementing the overall decline. I will just note here, this Taunton campus, this was actually a new campus, so we actually would expect to see a greater increase here than others, but as you can see, this didn't work out so well. But again, e-learning seems to be relatively unaffected from our decreasing high school graduates in our area. And we're expecting to see a continuation of this decrease over the next upcoming maybe 5 to 10 years. So it's important for us to uphold our online base. When we look at some of the disadvantages, now obviously there's a lot of technology that's involved in implementing online courses. I was involved in developing the phlebotomy hybrid course, where it's half online and half face-to-face, and this was so labor intensive, and I got paid a good amount to do it. But a lot of faculty don't have this time and don't want to put the effort into it. Sometimes here, this one's key. The cost materials can cost more for a student. And this is something that we often see where we start trying to explore on the technology, but the students can't keep up with us. So obviously, one of the things too, because this can be so laborious, we can actually see faculty really not wanting to buy in. And I see this even just in technology in general, not just putting a course online. There's a lot of learning required, and we need to have appropriate professional development to help us learn this. And this does not always compete or combine well with the faculty that's tried and true, and they really like their face-to-face interaction with the students and don't really want to think outside the box. The other thing that we have to really think about, and this is something I see in my phlebotomy classes, is right here. The students need an orientation to the orientation. And basically, by saying this, I mean that we have the general student orientation where we start taking them through the general technology requirements, and we look at, where's the library, where's the writing center, this is when your bills due, this is when you need to fill out your financial aid, etc. But one of the things that I'm finding in my phlebotomy classes is that these students take these classes and they don't understand what it involves, and they don't know how. They don't know how to do e-learning. We have a quick little 5-minute e-learning certificate. And to be honest with you, this is literally the most difficult assignment that they get throughout the course with me, because they can't figure out how to use the system. And one of the other things that I discovered is that we actually require a lot more accessibility than you think when we're putting something online. So it's really taken some time to be able to make the classes accessible to anybody online. And like anything, technology, it costs more to upkeep. You have to pay for licensing. You have to pay for maintenance fees. All of these really contribute to the cost of this. And this is an example of engaging students at a distance. This can be a positive, but it can also be a negative. These students here, they did this the other day in class. And we were able to interact, and they had to perform in front of students. Can we get this on a long distance basis? I'm not sure. Pardon me. So this is an example of, some of the effort that I had to go through in making some of my videos with the students, where we had to take this whole transcript. And YouTube is great to actually do this, but you also have to edit it. And this is something that I did under the finances of a grant. So I was getting paid to do this. But if I didn't have a grant, this is something that they would have had to pay for time to do. So it adds to the cost. When we look at, this was a study when they looked at online education costs, and this was a survey of college directors, and this really looked at the cost comparison of face-to-face versus distance or online courses. And a majority said most of their costs are no difference, and then some said cost more. And as you can see, no one said this costs less. But when you look at the overall system, yes, this costs more, and I mean, this is a slight difference here. So we're looking at a slight cost more. However, one of the things it's going to do is, overall, it's going to take the investment that we've had to put this upfront cost and upkeep and a little more expense, but it's going to offset the decline in these students, because we're looking at a decline in our enrollment. Our high school graduates, we're talking about year 2000. No one was having babies. So our high school graduates are declining, but our part-time students and our working students that want to return to school are increasing. So by taking this and putting it online, yes, the technology itself costs more. Yes, the online learning initially costs more. But once it's established, you are paying that instructor no more to operate, say, that Blackboard course or the materials that we've already invested in than you would a normal instructor that would do that in a face-to-face module. So this is something that I think will offset a lot of the requirements that we see later on. And I think this could only benefit institutions that invest the time and the effort into giving education to this part-time student that's coming back to school. This is our future student right here. That's our future student. Thank you.